Greetings, YouTube. The Doctor is in. Dr. Urias Papers here, coming at you with another commentary on Dungeons and Dragons. And today we're going to talk about the spell Daylight on the Doctor spell prognosis. I almost got my D's all mixed up here. Hey, so don't forget to hit that subscribe button. If you like this video, hit the like button. And if you have any questions or comments, leave a question or comment. All right, we are giving Daylight a B. This spell pretty much has only like two purposes, and maybe three, and the third one is a sub-purpose. It's very niche, and when I say niche, it means there are certain circumstances where you absolutely have to have it, and then otherwise it's just not useful at all beyond those circumstances. So it is a third-level spell. It is usable by clerics, druids, paladins, rangers, sorcerers, light domain clerics, circle of the land, grassland druids, and the celestial warlocks. So there's a lot of different classes and classes, which is good, because when you need it, you really, really need it. So, takes an action. It has a range of 60 feet with a 60-foot radius sphere. Verbal and somatic, not concentration, which is great, because you need to have this on, and then you need to be able to do other things once you have it on. If it was a concentration spell, you would turn it on, and then whoever cast it was stuck. So it lasts for an hour, which is that's a really, really good duration. Of course, it's evocation. So 60-foot radius sphere of light spreads out from a point you choose within range. Basically, you're going to end up at the edge of the light if you cast it 60 feet away. And then it sheds bright light, and it sheds dim light for an additional 60 feet. So it's actually 120 feet of some kind of light. If you choose a point on an object you are holding or one that isn't being worn or carried, the light shines from that object and moves with it, completely covering the affected object with an opaque object such as a bowl or a helm will block the light. If any of this spell's area overlaps with an area of darkness created by a spell of third level or lower, the spell that created the darkness is dispelled. That is the major use of this spell. The second major use of this spell is if you need bright light. And then the sub-use of this spell, there are some creatures that are daylight vulnerable. That is, there are bad things that happen to them when they are in an area of daylight, like, for instance, vampires. So, let's talk about darkness. Darkness is a second-level spell that we've talked about before, and it massively sucks when it hits your party because very few characters are going to be able to see in darkness. Like the warlock with their devil sight will be able to see, but very few other individuals are going to have the ability to see in magical darkness, and the darkness spell is magical darkness. And usually creatures that are casting the darkness spell have a way of seeing in it. So it puts everyone at a massive disadvantage. So, of course, it's a 15-foot radius, and the last sentence is the one, if any of this spell's area overlaps the area of darkness created by a second level or lower spell, the spell that created the light is dispelled. So that's why you have to have a third level spell, Daylight, to get rid of darkness. Now, you'll notice that when I put the word darkness in here, there's only two spells that show up. Darkness and Maddening Darkness, and we'll talk about Maddening Darkness later. But the darkness spell, you got to have a third level spell or higher, and the only light spell that is third, so I put the word light in here, and there's only a few things that show up. Dancing Lights, Daylight, Light, and Wall of Light. So, Dancing Lights and Light are both cantrips, so they will not be able to deal with darkness. However, Daylight, because it says right here, and it says because if it's third level or lower and darkness is a second level spell, then darkness will be gone completely. Now, Wall of Light, we'll talk about that later. That has a bunch of different other effects. Now, one of the other things that we can talk about here are monsters, and I don't think they have radiant. They really don't say in here lightning, and radiant, but not. So let's just put in vampire, and see what it says under vampire, because this is kind of the sub-use of this. So regeneration, vampire weaknesses. Forbidden, harmed by running water, stake to the heart, sunlight, hypersensitivity. The vampire takes 20 radiant damage when it starts its turn in sunlight. So that's that one. So daylight is not sunlight. It just spreads light out. So that you have to kind of think about that. Now let's look at monsters that are vulnerable to radiant, and let's see if it says anything in their kits about daylight. So we've got, let's look at the Atropole from, so it's got turn resistance, negative energy, magic resistance. It doesn't really say, other than it says vulnerable to radiant. So that's not one of them, but there is another one here that I do want to look at, and that's the Shadow Demon. Light sensitivity. So some things have light sensitivity. When bright light, the demon is disadvantaged on attack rolls, as well as wisdom. So there are some things that do have light sensitivity. I'm not sure where that would be in the kit. It's in here somewhere, but you're looking for light sensitivity. So daylight does do that in instance. So daylight is useful when it's needed. It's not always needed, and so that's why we're giving it a B. All right, that's what I got for everybody today. I appreciate everybody tuning in, and I will catch everybody later.